Hello YouTube, Son of Sanguinius here, and today we're going to be talking about the Librarian in the Blood Angels Codex. So as always, we're going to start with a stat breakdown. We're going to move on to the possible role that the HQ can take. In this case, it's going to be the Librarian. We're also going to talk about maybe a couple of different builds, and some general end thoughts. One thing I forgot to mention in my previous video on the captain was that, of course, in the internet, everyone is the War Master when it comes to 40k. So, of course, these are just my personal thoughts and opinions, and you certainly have your own. So, feel free to leave a comment down below if you wish to share your thoughts and opinions on what we're talking about today. So, the Librarian, he comes in at 65 points. We have Weapon Skill 5, Ballistic Skill 5, Strength 4, Toughness 4, 2 Wounds, Initiative 4, 2 Attacks, Leadership 10, 3 Up Armor Save. We have, for War Gear, we got Power Armor, Bolt Pistol, Force Weapon, Frag and Crack Grenades, and of course the Psychic Hood. For Special Rules, we have And They Shall Know No Fear, Furious Charge, that nice little Blood Angel bonus there, Independent Character, and Psyker Mastery Level 1. They can generate their powers from the Sanguinary, Biomancy, Demonology, Divination, or the Pyromancy disciplines. In addition to those, you guys may recall that the Angels of Death book came out, and that added 4 new disciplines. We have the Fulmination, Librarius, Geokinesis, and Technomancy disciplines that Blood Angels can also take. I know there might be some confusion out there as to whether or not Blood Angels can take those. The Angels of Death book does specify that Blood Angels are allowed to take psychic powers from those 4 new disciplines. In addition, Angel's Blade, the latest supplement for Blood Angels, also specifies that Blood Angels can take those, and even has the 4 new psychic powers in the book itself. So, moving on to the options that the Librarian can take, he can be upgraded to Mastery Level 2 for 25 points. He can replace his bolt pistol with a bolt gun for free. He can take items from the ranged weapons, special issue war gear, and or the relics of Baal. One Librarian in your army can replace his weapon with Galleon's staff, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. He can replace his power armor, bolt pistol, frag and crack grenades with Terminator armor. A Librarian in Terminator armor can take one of the following: a Storm Bolter for 5 points, Combi Flamer, Melta, or Plasma for 10 points, or a Storm Shield for 10 points. And a Librarian in Terminator armor can take items from the special issue war gear and or relics of Baal list. So, looking at the Librarian, it's been said for quite a while now that the Librarian, in a lot of ways, is sort of the perfect quote-unquote HQ. And this is primarily because with the psychic powers and the offensive capabilities and supportive abilities of the Librarian is really a sort of catch-all HQ. In a lot of ways, you really can't go wrong with them. Especially since the Angels of Death book came out, and with those 4 new disciplines that Space Marine, Dark Angels, and Blood Angels can now have access to, there is just such a wide range of abilities and psychic powers that Librarians can now take, which means that you can really kit out your Librarian to take on an offensive role. If you want him to be on the front lines, you can have him as a sort of support character if you want. Some psychic disciplines lend themselves toward that. I would say defensive, but in 40k, defense, offense, same thing. The other thing too is that looking at the Librarian, you can really sort of scale him toward different points levels. Unlike the captain that I mentioned previously, where to really get the full effect of his stat line and what he can really do, you kind of have to kit him out with some cool stuff. The Librarian, you can really sort of match it at most point levels. You can leave him at mastery level 1 and just have him just sort of take him as stock, really, and still be able to dish out some devastating psychic powers that are really the whole reason why you're bringing a librarian. Which is really nice because, unlike, say, the sanguinary priest, the chaplain, or the captain, most of the librarian's usefulness comes from the psychic powers that he generates, not necessarily all the upgrades you give him. That's especially true when comparing the captain. And it is worth mentioning that the chaplain and sanguinary priest, their uses don't really... well, I suppose the best way to say it is their main benefit doesn't come from the upgrades that they have necessarily, but the upgrades that they can take certainly help them with their supporting abilities. That's not necessarily the case with the librarian. The librarian you can really leave stuck and still gain the full effect of him on the battlefield, whereas going back to the captain again, sure, you can leave a captain stuck, but you're really not going to be doing a whole lot with that bolt pistol or that chainsword, whereas with the librarian, you got a force weapon, force, you can generate your psychic powers, and that's really where the real threat of the librarian comes in. So we can just sort of go over a couple of builds. Now, obviously, since we're Blood Angels, we tend to like to get into the assault. So if you really wanted to play him aggressively, you could give him a jump pack, maybe a range weapon of sorts, and then as far as powers to generate, perhaps the sanguinary, pyromancy, fulmination, or the librarious disciplines, and possibly biomancy as well, depending on what you prefer. I'd like to imagine, you got this son of Sanguinius with his psychic might descending from the heavens on wings of fire, and he's shooting fireballs and lightning bolts all over the place. Maybe he's boiling someone's blood and they explode into all kinds of bits. It's really cool. It's thematic and it's effective. If you want to have the librarian sort of take a back seat, or maybe you want to make sure that this particular HQ choice can't be taken out so easily, you could opt for Terminator armor instead. Maybe give him a combi weapon or a storm shield if you really wanted to give him that extra benefit, especially that storm shield, as I don't believe the librarian himself does not really have any kind of built-in invulnerable save, so giving him that storm shield could definitely help if you do take him in Terminator armor. It should also be mentioned that if he doesn't have Terminator armor, I don't believe that he can take a storm shield unless it's in the special issue war gear, and it doesn't look like it is. So if you decide to take the librarian with a jump pack or just with normal power armor, you're going to have to be careful about anything with AP2 or AP3, as he's going to not have an invulnerable save against those. You could pair him with a priest, give him a 5-up, feel no pain if you wanted to, but speaking about the librarian myself, Terminator armor and storm shield would probably be the most resilient way to go. He'll have 2+ armor, 3-up invuln, and of course all of his psychic goodness. And going back to the support thing, so you've got your Terminator armor, maybe a combi weapon or a storm shield if you would like. You can generate powers from the 9 that I listed, but for a more supporting role, perhaps sanguinary, divination, geokinesis, or if you're going for sort of like an armor build, technomancy. I mentioned armor build since we got the Lucifer Armor Task Force, which is pretty nasty. But yeah, so a couple more things to mention before we wrap up here. The librarian, like I said, really almost the perfect balance of offensive and supportive capabilities, and you can really kit them out the way you want, both as far as equipment goes and as far as psychic powers go. It should be mentioned that while in close combat, the librarian does not have as much killing capability as the captain, and frankly, I don't really think any other HQ choice in this book has as much actual physical killing power, if you will, as the captain does. But the librarian more than makes up for it with psychic powers. You can sort of switch out the captain's place as a HQ/elite remover for the Librarian. The Librarian can certainly do those things. It really just comes down to the disciplines that you give him and some of the war gear that you give him as well. Although, like I said before, unlike the captain, whose killing power is really relegated to what you upgrade him with, the Librarian's killing power is not completely, but mostly related to the psychic powers from which he draws on. Really, just to sort of wrap things up here, the Librarian is a solid HQ choice no matter what the points cost and no matter what you're going up against, because of the huge range of psychic powers that you can draw from. The Librarian could be considered the best HQ choice as far as like a general purpose HQ. Again, he may not be as survivable or durable as the captain, but again, he has that mix of offensive capabilities and support capabilities that really bring him to the next level. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Feel free to comment down below or like and subscribe if you would like, and I will see you guys in the next video.